We have a lot of new faces today, which is very exciting. We invited the president-elects to participate with us now. We're about halfway through the year. Can you guys believe it? It's crazy how fast this year has flown by. But I'm Emily Jennings. I'm the Chapter Support and Development Manager located in sunny Florida. Today it actually is sunny. It's been very rainy here. I don't know if you guys can relate to that or not. But again, we have lots of new faces on the call today, and we would like to ask you if you would, in your name, if you could rename yourselves to include your chapter. That way, whenever you're talking, we will know which chapter you're from. So this is for those president-elects who haven't been on the call before. This is a very informal call, and we will, ask you guys some questions and give you guys a chance to talk about what's on your mind and share ideas and best practices. So I do have one question for you guys, and I'll just open it up to the floor. The first question is, like I said earlier, we're about halfway through the year, and I'd like to hear from you guys how it's going with your strategic planning. So first of all, this question is two parts. So the first question is, what's going well? Is there a strategic goal that you guys are just killing and you're right on pace and everything's going well? And on the flip side, is there maybe a strategic goal that you are having a challenge with that you might want to, run by your peers here? So I'll open up the floor. If anyone has anything, just raise your hand or unmute yourself.
Hi, Emily.
Rich. Hey, Ed. Ed, you go ahead, and then Rich, you can go afterwards.
Okay,
go ahead, Ed.
I'll just break the ice here and say that I'm very pleased with our strategic plan. We've modified it somewhat, but things are going well. I think a key goal with our strategic plan for the year is to reopen. And we've now had 2 successful in-person events outdoors. And we're aiming towards a 3rd in-person event outdoors in the fall because of the success that we're having. Of course, the big question was if we had these in-person events, who would show, but the results have been very good, exceeded our expectations, truthfully. So that's good. And that means that we're shooting for the fall event. We're looking at a kind of apple orchard tailgate kind of event. That looks like it's moving along well. The otherwise educational events continue to go online and seem to be going well in that regard. So that's the model that we intended to continue this year, with education being done online. But we'll have to review that for next year's strategic plan and see, how everything looks, and keep our ears to the ground and hear what everybody else has to say. Downside, we're hoping to do our first really big holiday gala fundraiser event this year. But COVID, I think, restricted our ability in planning that, especially given the scope of what we're hoping to accomplish. So that we're pushing into next year, but there's a lot of excitement building about that. So
fantastic.
That's what I have to offer.
Thanks, Ed. It sounds like you guys are on track, and bummer that you weren't able to do that gala, but hopefully, like you said, next year you guys can build upon that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Rich, go ahead. Rich, did you have something? There you go.
When you get my age, you got to put glasses on to see up close. Sorry. Our planning has been pretty good. We've had weekly classes all during the pandemic. They've been very successful. They've allowed us to increase revenue, increase membership. And so that's been good. Our first live event's going to be in October. That's what we're shooting for. The biggest problem we have is not sponsors, it's not participants, it's been venues. The venues have not been very accommodating, not been very flexible. And we made a decision early on, we wouldn't want to go live, even though in this state, we're completely open. We didn't want to go live because we didn't want to have a mediocre or even a bad event on our first one. So it looks like in October, we've got a venue that is very flexible and will help us. And then a full expo, we're shooting for January or February of next year. And that seems to be much better with the venues planning. So we've been very successful and very happy with what we've been doing in South Carolina. Any questions with that?
Yeah, thanks, Rich. Yeah, we have been hearing that, you know, all of the other organizations are trying to get all of their events in that they had to cancel last year. You know, they're trying to get them all in this year. So we've been hearing that. We've also been hearing from some chapters about price increases for the venues too, specifically for food and beverage and things like that. So that's definitely a challenge. So thank you for sharing. Anyone else? Something in your strategic planning goals that are going fantastic? Or a challenge? Hey, Steve, go ahead.
How's it going? Hello, everybody. Yeah, there's a couple of things we went over strategic planning, and one of them was obviously this concern of coming out of post-COVID era and how we would handle that. And I got to say, I'm very happy with what our team has done down here and the support of our business partners. We started in-person events at the end of March. We tested it with just a small social with a limited of 50 people. Hugely sold out quick. Our golf event in April is fantastic. We've had top golf events. We've had other socials. So that whole post-COVID era concern that I had coming into this year, I think was a great response by our volunteers, our business partners, and so forth. One of the other goals I had is I wanted to launch two things. Was our CAI Gives Back initiative, where we're doing strictly, we give money back to local charities through our golf event and our expos, but we wanted to do specific events. So we had a nice, fantastic fundraiser event to fund high school scholarships that were not funded because the schools were closed down last year, and they usually get funded by previous year's school profits. And these are for future educators, for kids that want to be teachers. So our business partners stepped up and we raised $15,000 for that. So that went off great. So that was something that I wanted to go and have that initiative year over year, just to do one large event, at least at minimum one large event. And then the other thing that I wanted to see was awards program. We never launched any type of awards down here in Southeast Florida, which I know many chapters do. So I was happy to get that off the ground. We just started small, just 2 awards that we're going to issue at the end of the year at our holiday event, but that's finally moving forward. That was one of the goals that I wanted to see launch. Struggles we've been having as far as strategic planning is membership growth. I think that's a common struggle in a lot of areas. We're on the cusp of 500. We've been on that cusp for a long time. I think with everything going on down here now in South Florida, people are becoming more aware of support systems. Groups like CAI out here, and I'm hoping, the plan that we have moving forward regarding the tragic building collapse and holding those township meetings that, Tom Skiba came down and held one, and we talked about doing them in every municipality with building officials moving forward, which is a hot topic of conversation at our board meeting next week. And I think that'll help with the membership growth and the support moving forward. But those have been our challenges. But overall, I think everybody's happy to get back to some sort of norm thing. Our sponsors are stepping up. We haven't had any issues with that. We're looking forward to our 2 expos that we're holding in August and September. August, we do one here in Dade Broward, which the booths are selling as we speak. And then we have one in the Florida Keys in September. So we're looking forward to that and our future events. But the whole post-COVID concern I had at the end of last year, the response has been fantastic.
Thanks, Steve. And I wanted to say too, in the whole effort of CAI Gives Back, you guys have been doing a lot. And you know, doing what you can with the building collapse at Champlain Towers. And so we actually got one question submitted this time, or one response whenever we sent out, you know, something that you guys want to talk about. And actually, John Katz, who's on the call from the Keystone chapter, said we should give Steve some accolades and the chapter some accolades. So John, did you have anything to add to that? I saw you unmuted yourself, so.
Yeah, so when Crystal sent that email out, you know, the first thing I thought of was how great a job that Steve and his chapter has done really responding to this tragedy. And I just really thought he deserves a round of applause, and, you know, along with his CED and his chapter, because it's been unbelievable, you know, here from New Jersey watching what's been going on. And I could only hope that our chapter would do half as well if something tragic like that happened. So I just wanted to congratulate him and the work of his board and his chapter on doing that. You know, and again, just to touch on the question you asked before, Emily, was, you know, we actually had our first, we had a bunch of in-person events, and we had our conference and expo in mid-June, which was actually very successful. We actually had close to 80% of the attendance that we had at previous events. It was inside, it was indoors. There were no masks pursuant to Pennsylvania's requirements. Tom Skiba actually came up, said a few words at the event as well. So overall, it's going fairly well here in Pennsylvania and New Jersey.
I was wondering how it went, so that's good to hear that it went well.
Thanks, John. I appreciate that, and I'm but one person, but everybody down here has been great. All the support on even just the Florida chapters and other chapters have been great, fantastic. You know, it's challenging when we want to do something, and unfortunately they wouldn't let us volunteer and go out on the site. And so now what we arranged, actually today, we have an orientation with the Red Cross to have some volunteers to get certified. So if there is another disaster, whether it be a hurricane type of situation, that we can get a set of volunteers on site and help out because we'll be trained and that type of stuff. So things we learn on these things, but thanks for your words, John. I appreciate that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Kelly, I see you. Just 1 second. I just wanted to add to that, Steve. I think that's fantastic that you guys are getting trained through the Red Cross. You know, that's something that I would encourage all of you guys to do as a chapter. Maybe a couple of you from the chapter could do that. I've been a part when Hurricane Katrina happened here in the Florida, or in Louisiana, but I'm here in the Florida Panhandle, and I was trained through the Red Cross and able to work boots on the ground there. And so it was phenomenal and such a great way to give back. So I would encourage all of you to do that. Who is doing reviews with your CEDs? Good. Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Good. I would encourage you guys, if you are not on the Chapter Leader Toolkit, there are some tools, no pun intended, that you can use there, some review tools if you don't have anything. But, you know, we do at the headquarters level, we do quarterly reviews, which I find very helpful. It's nice to do that quarterly and not just once a year. It helps with communication, you know, with the CED. So does anyone have any tips or anything that you'd like to share on your review that you do with your CEDs?
I like to do the reviews in a comfortable surrounding. Like, I don't like to do them in the office or in a desk. I say, hey, let's meet at Starbucks, let's grab some coffee, let's talk. So the surrounding is a little different, more comfortable, you know, because there are challenges, you know, you have to discuss the shortcomings, right? Or the challenges, you know. The reviews are generally positive, but I like, for me, location and the way you set up, you know, you don't do across from each other, you go next to each other. That's always a leadership quality that I learned from a mentor of mine that I always thought was fantastic.
Great. Thanks for sharing, Steve. Anything else that anyone wants to add to that discussion? All right. Nathan, did you want to share how the chapter was going?
Sure. Last year, like for everybody, was crazy. We had a new executive director search, and we ended up hiring somebody, and have been very, very pleased with Carissa Mace as our executive director. We just had our second event, probably our first real big event. We had a tiki night the other night. It was very well attended. I don't have all the final numbers yet, but it was a great event. Everyone had a really good time. We had a lot of fun, and we were starting to make plans for the rest of this year. I think that one of the challenges that I'm facing is that I'm really busy. And so I think having Carissa has been very, very helpful, but I would like to see us do more strategic planning. So I'm eager to hear everybody's ideas and thoughts. We had talked about doing like a board development kind of thing where we kind of work on a strategic plan for the next year or 2 or 5, but we have not put any pen to paper on that. So anyways, looking forward to hearing everybody. Our chapter's going great though. Excited about the rebound. The rest of this year is going to be great, and we're setting up Amber, who's on this call, also for next year. I think she's going to do a great job. So thanks, everybody.
Wonderful. Thanks, Nathan. So happy that you guys have a CD in place and are able to move forward with that. I know you are too. I did want to bring up one point that Nathan said too, and that's about strategic planning and developing a strategic plan. And I wanted to remind you guys, or let you know if you're not aware, that we're available to help you guys with that as well. We're able to assist with board training and as well as strategic planning. We can do something virtually, and now that we're opening up a little bit to travel, we could possibly, maybe if it fits, in this schedule, to be able to come out and personally, do that for you guys in person. So just wanted to throw that out there. What else? What's going well with your strategic planning, and what challenges do you have that you'd like to get feedback from the group on? Go ahead, Michelle.
Hi, everybody. I would say we're doing great up here in Illinois. Kelly, thank you for the nod. We just had a golf outing in June, very successful. We did our golf outing last year though, 50-50. This year it was sold out, 3 courses, so it was phenomenal. I would probably say, along with everybody else, we're eager to go live. The rest of our events this summer that we did not do, we have a big summer social in August down in the city, big boat cruise. That gets like 350, 400 people. We're anxious for that. I think a lot of our members are anxious to get back out and do that as well. And then we're super excited that our gala will be live this year. And that's another 500 person, black tie event that we just have a ball with, no pun intended. But yeah, no, so we're excited about our live events. Strategic plan wise, I would probably say, we have a great group of volunteers and that run all of our committees and whatnot. And I think we work with them hand in fist on the strategic plan. We're trying to really help build our volunteers, the individual themselves, whether it's personal development, professional development, in light of their committee people. We're growing our leadership because a lot of our chapter leadership, we're aging. I've been a volunteer for 15 years. Not that I can't keep doing this, but we definitely need to get because our retention is good, but actually train up and empower our volunteers, encourage them. A lot of times they're involved, but not realizing their own potential. So we're giving them opportunities, and we're creating our committee chair trainings such that they themselves as individuals, they step up. Instead of us tapping on the shoulder, we want them approaching us. So a lot of leadership development in the works. And that's exciting, but it brings its own challenges, a lot of personalities and characters to deal with. And then I'm trying to think, not a big challenge, but then we're changing our systems from Cvent, and we're doing a leadership management software system that will actually be able to help us facilitate all of our programs much better, and education. It's an amazing opportunity for our members to get that education and be able to go through the Zoom year that we just did and all the classes. I mean, we had phenomenal phenomenal, double digit, triple digit participation. So just being able to keep all that up in an efficient manner. So doing well, doing very well. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Michelle. I want to go back to one of the things that you talked about, and that was volunteers and leadership development. I think that's huge right now, not only in the industry, you know, as far as development, you know, of new managers, you know, and things like that coming to the industry, but as well as chapter leadership too. And so I just wanted to touch on this. Do any of you guys have anything that you're doing to bring in new volunteers, to bring in new leadership, to bring in new blood, you know, as we sometimes put it? Do you guys have anything to share in regards to that? Go ahead, Kristen.
Hello, everyone. I'm president-elect of the Washington Metro chapter, and recently we have found that a lot of our volunteers didn't understand the budget process and how their committees get funded, because we have a lot of different committees. And so we recently hosted a budget training before all the committee budgets are due, in order to get more input from the committees. And also we not only the co-chairs were invited, but also any subcommittee or subgroup leaders, they were also included. So we found that now there seems to be more growth from the committee level and more understanding from the volunteer level on how the chapter is actually run. And so that is helping. I don't know if that would help anybody else.
Fantastic. Great tip. Yes. Thank you, Kristen. Steve, did you have something to add as well?
Yeah, we just started a young professionals committee in our chapter. I've seen it happen in other organizations, which one of our members approached us about it. So we just like roll with it. And we just had their first committee meeting, and that's attracting a lot of new young professionals, lack of a better term, into the chapter. The new faces we're getting. They want to do more things like fishing tournaments and whatever, and things we haven't really done or thought of, and just more charitable events and that type of stuff. So that's attracting a lot of new business development professionals of the younger generations. Not to say that I'm not still young.
Young at heart, we are.
Exactly. I'm gonna start to shave the beard now. But yeah, no, it's working out great. It's, you know, typically people in the committee are under the age of 35, and, you know, they have a lot of connections and fresh ideas. And that's what I'm looking for, is fresh ideas. I'm not recycling the same thing year over year.
Hey, Steve, do you mind if I reach out to you? Because this is something that we have been talking about as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know our president is very passionate about it. So
Sure.
We're just trying to really put our arms around it, see how to get this started, the best way of handling it. So if you don't mind if I pick your brain, that would be great.
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you.
Yay, that's what these calls are about, these connections. We have several, in the last few years, we have several chapters who have developed these committees. So I think it's a great opportunity to bring people in new that, you know, wouldn't normally be involved. So great ideas. What else? What's going well with, you know, in regards to your strategic plan, and what challenges are you having? All right. No one else wants to share? All right. Well, those were some really, really awesome things. So thank you for that. We already touched on one of the other topics that I had, which was reviews with your CEDs. So again, I just want to encourage you guys to check on the toolkit for some review assessments and things like that, and just make sure that you're doing that. The comment from Richard Paris from North Carolina in the chat said that they found that their CED had more on their plate in 2020 and so far this year, due to the online learning and not being able to utilize volunteers like they were before. And then some chapters are doing the online learning plus getting back to in-person and continuing that. So let's dive into this a little bit deeper and kind of talk about how are you guys helping the CEDs or encouraging them with managing that workload? Does anyone have any input on that? One of the things that I would just encourage you guys to do, I was actually a chapter executive director for the North Gulf Coast chapter before I came and worked for headquarters. And one of the things that went so far is when my president or my president-elect or anyone on the board for that matter just checked in with me. You guys all have, different jobs and things like that, but I would just encourage you to check in on them every now and then, see how they're doing, see if there's anything that you could do, to assist or ask them what their challenges are, and what they see as going well. So Jennifer, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I wanted to let you know that, in our chapter, the Heartland chapter, we work really closely together. The presidents do, and really the whole board with the CED, Kathy. She's awesome. And, one of the things that we do is, like once a week, we will set up a time where her and I will do a video call, or we'll meet somewhere and talk about the different pain points or membership or whatever it might be that she might be experiencing, or, always asking her, how can I help? And what way can I help her? So there might be some things like with committees and we're doing different things, she might need help planning, or just extra liaison work from the board directors themselves to some of the committees. Like we had a manager in-person manager reception last month, and so it was like all hands on deck. Even though we have an events committee, the board pitched in and helped and made sure that everything ran smoothly. Didn't just leave it up to the events committee solely. We kind of oversaw and made sure that the back area that on behind the scenes, that she didn't have to do all of that herself, because this year we've had to move our trade show that was in March. We moved that to August, and then we have our golf tournament that we hold every year in September. So, and we're also going up to Kansas City in October for another trade show and another manager reception. So it's like a lot of things that we're planning that we need her for to do the main work, but then we're also always helping her and checking in so that she's not feeling burnt out or overloaded, because it's a lot to take on.
I think that's one of the most important things, is just helping identify those administrative tasks that can just vary, well, anybody, right? But I think identifying the value that I would think most of you guys all see your CED or ED that brings is the relationship piece of keeping those membership growth, right? Whether it's managers or business partners. So really that should be their primary strength. And if they're bogged down with the administrative functions, depending on how your chapter is set up, if they don't have administrative support, I think there are all sorts of things that we don't realize that go into an event, the tasks, the administrative tasks that they might have. So just an honest conversation with them of, hey, help us understand all of these, the nuts and bolts of it, and where can we outsource some of those things so that you're freed up on the more important things. It's having that conversation and not being afraid to spend more money to take care of those administrative things so that their time can be better spent in the bigger picture things.
Oh, that's such a good point. Yes. Thank you both for sharing that. Yes, absolutely. Don't be afraid to spend money if you're able, to find better, more efficient ways, or and ways to help the CED and chapter staff. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else want to add to that discussion? I love what you both, touched on, the communication piece of that, which is so important. And that's one of the things that I wanted to, talk with you guys about as well is, do you guys have, Jenny shared, something that she's doing. They meet once a week, and talk through things. I used to meet every other week by phone with my president. And then about halfway through the year, so about right now, we would bring in the president-elect on those calls as well. And I would just bring a list of things, maybe it was something that I needed to vent about. Sometimes when especially when you're the only staff person for the chapter, you don't get really anyone, to do those things. So maybe, they need to vent, maybe they need to share challenges, maybe they need to celebrate something with you, that's happened within the chapter. So does anyone do anything like that to ensure that ongoing communication is happening? Or do you do anything well, that you like as far as keeping that line of communication open between you and the CED?
I talk to my CED 2 or 3 times a week, so I don't have scheduled time, so just text and talk.
That's great.
Yeah, I end up talking to our CED at least once, if not 2 to 3 to 4 times a week on something or another. She's calling asking about, what about this? And she's new, so there's a lot of guidance and support that she needs to kind of understand what it was like and what didn't work. So
Right.
we've been in pretty good communication.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Here in North Carolina, I'm the president-elect actually, but we've had ongoing every week conversation with our CED. So it's me, the president, and the CED, and we started that, I think, in March. And so we literally have about an hour, sometimes 2-hour conversation every Tuesday. So that's just a standing appointment for us. So we're pretty well connected with our CED here.
Yeah.
And that also helps us too, because she helps keep us abreast of everything that's going on with national too.
Right. Yeah. And I like that, you mentioned too, that as the president-elect, you're a part of that too, because I think that can help with the transition,
Yeah.
from the president to the president-elect. So that helps with that. All right. Okay, well, we have a little bit of time left, so I just wanted to open it up. That's all that I came to the meeting wanting to discuss. Is there anything that you came to the meeting wanting to discuss that you'd like to bring up?
I know this was kind of touched on earlier, but maybe there's ideas out there. I think we're struggling most with just reinvigorating those committees. I don't know if Zoom is kind of, the lack of getting together in person has kind of created this Zoom hangover, that the disengagement, I feel like, is just, they're not as active as they used to be, as excited as they used to be. So we had a committee chair meeting last week, just talking about this issue and how can we, inject some more enthusiasm into their committee so people are excited again, since we're coming up on live events now. So I'm curious if there's been any ideas for what you guys have done just to kind of motivate, encourage, fire up your committees. Some of the things that we talked about were incentivizing, like, I don't know, maybe the chapter splurges for lunch for each committee every couple of months, or maybe you get them volunteer shirts that says CAI. I know it sounds, but it's something. So I'm curious if there's any incentives like that or other ideas that people have found helpful to get committees fired up.
Josh, you hit it on. I was going to say, I just bought them all shirts. They love the shirts. So, we just decided to say, we haven't ordered polo shirts in a while. Let's get nice red ones. We ordered, just for the board. And then I said, well, let's order them for all the committee chairs as well, since they're out there volunteering, and they love it. They love wearing those red shirts. Something that simple, it makes a difference.
Yeah, it definitely shows appreciation. Anyone else? Go ahead, Kelly. Did you have something?
Yeah, we actually started having like a mid-year check-in with our chairs, just to see how things are going, how, get feedback. And we're hearing a lot of that right now. There's only so much they can do because of COVID. So we have started putting cross committees. So we're crossing them over to where they can share ideas, figure out how to work together. And that has done wonders. Like with our CARES committee, they get out and do things in the community to help out, and that does cost money. So after our fundraising committee's already had their fundraiser for the year. What else is there to do? They've already kind of planned to next year. So now they're working with CARES committee to come up with ideas to raise money. So people are starting to get excited again, because it's a lot of brain power and brainstorming going on, instead of limited it to just one committee. It's been very helpful.
That's great. Yeah, I like what you said about having them be involved with each other and sharing those ideas and stuff, because so many times committees do overlap. So that's fantastic. Thanks for sharing that. All right. Well, I do have some updates and things that I want. Some of you guys are. Rich Carlson asked about an update for activities at the conference. So that's one thing. Kelly, do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yes. So for the president-elects, we do have the training on Wednesday from 1 to 4. So you have received that communication. For those of you who aren't able to attend live in person in Las Vegas, we will be doing a virtual training. It's the same information. You just get to spend time with me here on Zoom. So, and of course, you know, your CEDs are welcome to attend as well. And then live at the conference, so this will not be taking place virtually, we will have our leadership lounge. And so that's a special area just for you as chapter leaders and the CEDs to come. It's a place to relax, to recharge, to network with each other, and we will have some more informal time for communication. So we are finalizing that schedule currently with that. But one thing I did want to mention is on our last call, or one of the last calls with all of you, you had asked to have a space to be able to almost network with each other. You know, you unfortunately for the presidents this year, you guys didn't get to see each other in person last year at the president-elect training. We did it all virtually. So we are going to be holding an ice cream social for you guys in the lounge on Thursday afternoon. So again, we will be sending out that schedule. We also have an app this year, and so you all will have access to the app. And so we will be sending out push notifications with reminders of what's going on in the lounge and everything like that. So we didn't want to get the schedule out too early and then have changes. So we will be getting that out to you within the next, I would say, 2 weeks or so with that schedule for you.
Thanks, Kelly. Does anyone have any questions about training at conference?
No, but how's it going? How's the registration going? We're expecting a big crowd.
Yes.
Registration's been going fantastic. We had, as of, I believe, yesterday, it was about 950 people registered for the event, which is tracking just in line of previous, if not, you know, kind of the top level of attendees that we have. So we're expecting a great turnout. Our exhibit hall is almost sold out. So they're coming out in waves as well. For those of you who don't know, we're in a brand new space in Las Vegas. So it's beautiful, it's fantastic. If you have not registered yet, registration early bird ends on the 20th. So make sure you get your registration in for that. Also the room block, I believe, also closes shortly. And I believe our room block is what, $99 a night right now. So it's a great deal.
Awesome. Yes, we're looking forward to seeing you guys who are going to be there in person. And Kelly will see you got the president-elects who aren't able to be. She'll see you guys virtually. So we're getting really excited about that. But I just wanted to thank you guys again for taking the time to join us today. You know, if anything came out of COVID, it has given us the opportunity to connect in ways that we didn't before. We've never done this, you know, with the president and president-elects, and it's something that we will continue to do because we see the benefits. And you know, we also have these with our CEDs. We have our water cooler chats twice a month. And Crystal the other day said, you know, it was a last meeting of the day, you know, but she just felt pumped, you know, after she got off the call, because to see you guys sharing and excited about what's going on in the chapter is just really encouraging. So I do want to encourage you guys. I know I'm encouraging you guys to do a lot this call, but we have the exchange online. And so all of these conversations that we're having here can continue online. And you know, I don't see a lot of action on the president-elect page except for the weekly emails that I post. So I'm challenging you guys to get some conversations going before next time. So next time I'm going to say, hey, what did we talk about on the exchange? And please don't let me down. You know, I want to be able to say that we've talked about something. So please go on there. Kelly asked the question about the young professionals, you know, on the exchange, and give people the opportunity to share, and any of the other questions that you guys have had, you know, as well. So, all right. Kelly, did you have something to add? Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Please
just
do.
wanted to add that with Exchange, you can attach files. So for example, you know, Steve, I know you have the young professionals, and if you have anything like a charter, any type of material or something, or a flyer that you might have used, you know, that's a great place. Or maybe it's a CED review that you have a template for and you want to just share with the group because you heard it on the call. It's a great space to go ahead and just attach that file. And then again, it goes out to the whole group. So it's a really easy way to share with everyone versus sending individual emails to people.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, everyone. Well, thank you again. It was great to see you, and we're looking forward to seeing you guys next month. Have a great day.